We had a great weekend of football. The divisional round lived up to the hype. 2 games overtime. The third game, a close game. We got one dud, which is expected. But I want to start off on a critical basis. So let's start off with the Bills-Broncos matchup from Saturday afternoon. Your overall reactions, though, for the game as a whole before we criticize per team.
It was an incredible game to watch. As a neutral, obviously, it was insane. If you're a Bills and Broncos fan, obviously it was stressful. And literally probably you're at the edge of your seat, biting your nails type of game. But overall, it was a fantastic watch. There was sloppiness in the game for sure. But again, a close, tight game. That's what you expect with the Bills and Broncos here, because the Broncos, the 1 seed, have played many close games this season.
Defensive juggernauts.
They have great defense. And obviously the Buffalo Bills, you have Josh Allen. So you know that he's going to make it into a close game. And it was an exact close game, 33-30 in overtime. But there are a lot of storylines to take away from this game for both teams. And we're probably going to start off with the main
Bills.
one, which is the losing side in Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Before I start with Josh Allen, I do want to ask the controversial call that led to the interception late. I believe it was late in the fourth, not overtime, right? Am I mixing up?
It was in overtime.
Overtime, okay, yeah. So that controversial call, because at that moment, I'm like, okay, I see why it's a pick, right? Like, I know you were on the opposite side of things. But then we're going to obviously talk about this game down the stretch. But when we saw the same exact play in the Bears-Rams be called the other way, for me, it wasn't the frustration that called a pick or whatever. For me, it was the lack of inconsistency. And I do not blame Bills fans and the Bills team and now Sean McDermott even more in the aftermath of what happened in that Bears-Rams where they ruled the Devontae Adams one a catch. And then that one, not a catch. Brandon Cooks, not a catch.
Yeah, so at this rate, it's just so confusing what is a catch and what isn't anymore. And overall, to me, when I'm looked at the replay more and more, I thought Cooks caught it, went to the ground, was touched down. Like, it happened really fast. There is a case that where he didn't survive the ground for, and like, I feel like if I'm looking at different angles, I feel like he caught it, hit the ground. The moment he hit the ground, he's obviously down and the play should be done because that's the football move. And then obviously he got snatched away and McMillan got the interception. But the big issue here was that the refs didn't take their time to look at it. They didn't do a proper review for it. And it ended up being a huge, massive swing because in that sense, if that's a catch, Bills are in field goal range, field goal wins the game there. But obviously the Broncos get the turnover, go back the other way and get the field goal of their own to end the game. So it was a massive decision. And a decision, I think the number one thing you need to be pissed off about, because in this type of play, people are going to be on one side or the other. It's a catch or interception. Like, people are going to have a case for both here. It's a tough call. It's a very difficult call. But the issue here I have is they didn't take their time to look at it. They didn't properly review it. They just went on with it, which is, in my opinion, does not make any sense.
For me, it was just the lack of inconsistency after seeing what happened to the Bears-Rams game from today, because we're literally reacting as that game ended. For me, I was leaning more interception. I know you were leaning more catch. Fair, right? Like, I see arguments on both sides. We're obviously a little bit split on it. I'm not against that play because I could see why it was ruled, he didn't survive the ground, whatever the case might be, because even if he didn't intercept it, it possibly could have popped out. Fair. It's just like the ref show keeps going and going, because it was not even just that and the lack of inconsistency. The flags in overtime that pretty much sealed the game for the Broncos. The second one, sure.
Yeah.
That's a pass interference all day, every day. But the first one for me was very soft, and you cannot make this game about the officials. You're in overtime of a divisional round trying to go for the championship game of your respective conference, and the refs made it about themselves and took away what was a really good game. They just made it about them.
Yeah, but that's the ref story part of it. But speaking more about the Buffalo Bills, this is probably the first time in his playoff career, I would say, or like first time in a long time in his playoff career, where you could come away from a Buffalo Bills loss, and the first time in a long time, the number one blame or the number one person to blame is Josh Allen.
Yeah, so the fact that it went to overtime and all that stuff, listen, it was the Broncos juggernaut defense, as we mentioned earlier, versus the best player left in the playoffs and Josh Allen. And that was the reason why you went with the Broncos, because they were the better overall team. I agreed with everything you said that during our analysis video, their prediction video. I went with the best player. I'm like, this guy, it has been super bad. He'll continue doing this. It's gonna be tough against this defense, and it was tough because he had turnovers that we're not used to for him seeing. And the biggest one that I point my eyes to is the one before half. The Broncos go ahead and get a touchdown. You obviously, I love being aggressive, don't get me wrong, but just the way he was running with the ball, not protecting, fumbling the ball right when the time it was about to expire, so like a couple of seconds left, to the point where the Broncos could hit a field goal. You give them 10 points in a span of 22 seconds, and then you get the ball back on the other side of half, fumble it again, or was it a pick?
It was a strip sack.
A strip sack, and then gave him points again right away. It became 23-10 at that point. But I'm looking at, and I know which one you're looking at. I'm looking at the one before half, whether that be Josh Allen, whether that be play calling from Sean McDermott, whatever, to make the decision, like take the knee. We'll just make a proper drive on the other side of half and take the lead back. That play before half, in my opinion, was the ultimate reason why they ended up losing that game. Yes, he made a comeback, 23-10 to make it 24-23, had the lead late before that amazing throw by Bo Nix to get the touchdown to Marvin Mims. But I'm just looking at that particular play, and his play overall, the picks weren't the greatest outside. I'm not gonna give the Cooks one on him, but the first pick that he threw wasn't also the greatest. Yeah. It was underthrown. Yes, you're 100% right. It's the first time you could blame Josh Allen on it, but that, if I'm going to pinpoint one thing of the loss, I'm going to pinpoint at that particular play.
Well, yeah, it's a 3-point swing. Like, you lost by 3, and they got 3 points over there. Basically, if that play doesn't happen, you might not be going into overtime in the first place. So, obviously, it's a huge moment, and I 100% agree with you with that. But another thing that you could throw is not necessarily a turnover, but I believe it was right before the Matt Prater game-tying field goal. There's a play where he had Dawson Knox,
yeah,
and he missed him as well. So again, look, this guy's absolute beast. He is this season he's been the best player in the world, because obviously he's not been the MVP, but like in terms of just who he is, and how he is.
It's like a little classic. Yeah. Obviously, people are going to say Patrick Mahomes is still the best, and I 100% agree with that because he still will get the job done.
But this season, it's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
So again, last week he put up an absolute phenomenal performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were a very tough team to beat. And it was going to take every bit of like that performance again against the Denver Broncos. So it is very difficult. And I'm not surprised that he turned the football over against the Denver Broncos defense. It just, look, the Cook's interception, it is what it is.
50-50 call.
The strip sack, I know, people are making a case that he should protect the ball there, but he literally had no chance. Freaking Nick Bonito just came and there was no time for that. But the one that people are going to look at the most is the fumble before half, because that right there really made a bad situation even worse, because just giving up a touchdown, again, it should be taking a knee because you had 0 timeouts. It's not like you were going to do much with, I believe, less than 10 seconds left in the game. So, or of the half.
So you could slightly blame Sean McDermott for that as well.
Yeah, but overall, you shouldn't be having the ball like that. You shouldn't be turning the football over there. It was going to be a tough game for Josh Allen. In my opinion, I knew he was going to be as good as he was against the Jacksonville Jaguars, because that defense is so good. But overall, he did get him in the position to win. But at the same time, his mistakes were the fatal blow for the Buffalo Bills.
At the end of the day, 4 turnovers by him. Again, we blame the 2 fully on him for sure. 1 by James Cook as well. So 5 turnovers.
Which was actually very crucial, because when you looked at the game in the beginning, the first possession, Broncos drove it down, got a little bit lucky of their own fumble where they recovered. And but the Bills defense did good enough to
get 3.
Force a 3.
Yeah.
And then the Bills came down. James Cook was running the ball fantastically.
You just gave it
James Cook had 117 yards on the ground. Much better performance from him in this game than the wild card game. But in the second drive, again, it looked like the offense was unstoppable.
Yeah.
But then that fumble really just, ruined that momentum. And they couldn't stop Cook. They couldn't stop Allen in the first quarter. But that turnover really changed the tide of the beginning of the game there. But then obviously Josh Allen didn't really help himself out with those ones. But overall, look, it's going to be was it his best chance? For sure. It was his worst team.
So my next question is the window closed for the Buffalo Bills?
Not necessarily, because you still have Josh Allen. At the end of the day, when you have Josh Allen, you're going to have a chance. And when you have Josh Allen playing like Josh Allen, You're always going to have a chance to win. Clearly, they did now. Like, it wasn't the best team he had.
Yeah.
And they only lost by 3 to the 1 seed and one of the best defenses in the league. So, yeah, the window's not closed, but you need to do a better job of getting help.
So here's my thing now. Should Bean be fired? Because here's one thing. Blame Josh Allen for this game? Sure, because he's the quarterback. We all know that they're going to get the praise. They should also get the blame. But during his tenure, this like you said, this was probably his worst team at the worst time could get that because you have no Mahomes, you have no Jackson, you have no Burrow. The guy you lost to the most was Burrow and Jackson.
Well, not Burrow.
Sorry, Burrow and Mahomes. How do you not go get a weapon at the deadline when we said it? How does you? I understand like Luke Wilson on TSN said, how do you not overpay and get a guy like Jalen Waddle? I know those guys are going to be tough to get. AJ Brown Wentz not getting traded midseason unless you throw a Godfather offer type thing. But a guy like Jacoby Myers. And then now in hindsight, Jacoby Myers did not have a great game against Buffalo. Trevor Lawrence didn't have a great game in Buffalo. But as the season went on and when Jags went on their hot run, Jacoby Myers is the number one guy. He is the one that got paid. If Josh Allen is making Khalil Shakir shavers before he went down, you got both the tight ends, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis before he went down looked good. You're telling me Jacoby Myers is not going to emerge as a number one for that offense, at least for this year. You didn't have to extend him, but at least for this postseason run, you could have given him some help because Keon Coleman is trying to go to be a bust of a pick at the moment with whatever is happening on the field, off the field, whatever is happening there. But how do you not get this guy help? I understand injuries are a factor on the defensive side, but you were aggressive to get Stephon Diggs when you got Stephon Diggs. Yes, Stephon Diggs at that time is better than the Jacoby Myers is now, but you went out and it turned it around. Obviously, you just ran into Patrick Mahomes and you couldn't get the job done. But this particular offseason, you knew the window was there for you to get there, and it's a missed opportunity once again. How do you not get a guy like Jacoby Myers if he was available, or whatever other weapon help you could have gotten? It's the best way I could put it.
I'll be surprised if they get fired. I'll be honest with you.
But is it a time for change, at least on McDermott's side of things?
Yeah, obviously because they haven't won. So you might be looking at something different. But the question is who? Like at the end of the day, McDermott's a sick head coach.
Yeah.
So are you able to get someone at the same level of McDermott? Because right now,
Stefanski already got a job.
Harbaugh's already got a job.
Got
who's really an upgrade?
Yeah, I mean, the only guy is Tomlin, but I don't think he's coaching next year.
Exactly. So, again, in that situation, I don't think McDermott is going to be gone. Bean, on the other hand, I don't think he's going to be gone either.
I blame Bean more for sure. But yeah, you had to be. This was the year you had to be aggressive, especially at the deadline. Like you did it last year. You went out and got Amari Cooper. Yeah.
Right. Especially when the Jets got Devontae Adams, they're like, okay, we got to answer back here. And obviously the Jets didn't turn to be anything good. But still, like you wanted to be the best team, and getting a guy like Amari Cooper at that time was a help. I know he didn't do much after, and then even in a free agency, like you wanted to revamp this D-line, you went out and got Joey Bosa. Again, Joey Bosa had a great year, not necessarily a great postseason, but a great year overall. And LSU was a big part of that defense, and him staying healthy was a big part as well. And the defense in general did their thing. At the end of the day, they did enough. That's all they need defensively. Offensively, when you're looking at it, it's just Josh Allen and James Cook, and everyone else is like, you're really looking at everyone else being inconsistent or average at best. So again, you're looking at Bean here, and him not being aggressive is the biggest downfall of his roster construction for this year for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, so for me, I want to say one thing. Should McDermott get fired? I don't know if I would say yes, time to move on. Like you said, who's going to be available? We'll see, because if Jesse Minter just had a really good game for the Rams, right? We saw, Shula. And then obviously Jesse Minter for the Chargers the week before. It doesn't matter what side of the ball, they obviously need to figure out in general. Will I be surprised he gets fired as we're recording this Sunday night, right? So we could still see something happen Monday, whenever this comes out, Monday, Tuesday, whatever the case might be. It won't surprise us. I wouldn't be opposed to having a change at the end of the day. He did not get the job done when it matters most, and you have the most talented guy probably in football on your roster. Yes, I know you don't control the offensive side, but even your strong suit defensively, couldn't get the job done a couple of years ago. That's all. I'll end off with the Bills right now. We'll focus on more on the offseason. But let's move on to the. We're not gonna talk too much about the Broncos here.
Let's talk about the Broncos here a little bit.
No,
Like,
I know. So let me finish. We're not gonna talk too much in terms of in depth in terms of what's next because we're obviously gonna talk about them in the preview of the championship game. But the biggest takeaway from this game is that Bo Nix injury. Out for the playoffs, got a fractured bone in his foot in the second last play of the game, which is unfortunate because he had that amazing throw to Marvin Williams to at least for the go-ahead lead before Prater hit the game-tying field goal to go to overtime. But what a loss it could it be because after watching that Texans-Patriots game, it could be like you have to go through Jared Stidham now, which is going to be, for Broncos fans, must feel sick to a certain extent.
I'm going to talk about Bo Nix and his performance and that what he had shown in this game. And Bo Nix, at the end of the day, and what Sean Payton has done was absolutely fantastic. The defense did give up a lot of points at the end of the day, but this offense had to answer back every time the Josh Allen and the Bills were able to score. And overall, again, the defense did incredible in terms of forcing turnovers, but they allowed points. But Bo Nix was incredible. Again, he has proven that to be a clutch quarterback this year. He may not have had complete games, but when it mattered most, he needed to get the job done, and he got it done in overtime and in the fourth quarter when they needed that go-ahead touchdown and a great ball to Marvin Mims, like you said. So, yeah, it's absolutely unfortunate what happened, I believe, in the second last play, offensive play.
To set up the field goal.
Yeah, second last play, offensive play. So, technically it's third last play of the game.
Yeah.
But so the second last play of the game, third last play of the game, where he just goes down, which is so unfortunate. And overall, yeah, so like when we're going to talk about the Broncos, about the game and how we're going to expect, that's going to be in our next video. So you should be hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified about our prediction. But overall takeaway from the Broncos, Bo Nix was good. The offense was good. Again, they got a little bit lucky because there were some turnovers or for some fumbles that they luckily recovered as well. So which could have been really brutal as well.
Yeah.
But overall, defense did their job. We're opportunistic, got the takeaways, and then Bo Nix and the offense were able to answer back. So give him credit for that. But again, unfortunate blow.
Let's see if Stidham could have his Nick Foles moment. Obviously, first starts his 2020.
Well, Nick Foles is already out here roasting the Patriots.
Exactly, right? Because they are going against the Patriots, who are the next team we're going to be talking about. Is that they beat the Houston Texans to move on to the championship game. But I want to start off with the Texans because just be happy you have that defense because this game should have matched exactly what happened in the Niners-Seahawks game. It should have been an absolute demolition of a game because CJ Stroud in the first half had 4 picks. Obviously got the 1 touchdown pass to Christian Kirk. But overall, it was just an awful performance by that offense as it was all year, which is why we kind of what we expected, right? We literally said going into this game is that we expect Houston's defense to do what they do. We expect New England's defense to do what they're going to do. Yes, not to the extent of that. Is that which offense is going to
screw their team over most.
The difference is the Patriots got a pick 6 and whenever they did get the ball turned over, the Houston ended up taking it away. So they were lucky enough that it was not in the red zone area or in their Houston end to get even at the minimum of 3 points because a couple of the picks that he did throw, it was midfield-ish. So he ended up, Houston defense kept him in the game as long as they could.
Essentially, the storyline that we brought up for this game is which offense is going to screw their own team more. And that's not necessarily roasting the Patriots offense. That's just really praising the Texans defense for that case. But the other side was like, literally, you're looking at it and it's going to be what the hell CJ Stroud does. And the one thing he did really good this year is that he didn't necessarily hurt his team. But then you go into the playoff time and then the Pittsburgh game and now this game even more. He would just look like a guy who never played the quarterback position in the NFL before.
He's scared to take a sack. Like the second interception or whatever it was, he was about to get sacked. He threw it away. He just takes a sack. At least you have another opportunity and you could have help the field position situation. Instead, it returned for 6.
Yeah. I felt like CJ Stroud did not understand or did not want to play his role because I felt like in this playoff run, he was trying to chase that guy he was in his rookie year. And right now, in this moment, I'm not saying he will never be that guy again, but in this season and in this moment, he is not that guy. So because of that, and him trying to make a play, like people like Mahomes and Allen do, he's not that. So
even Caleb Williams.
Yeah, even Caleb Williams. But I felt like to me, he was just trying to again, kind of like Carson Wentz, trying to like live or die off of one play and just try to, make sure every play is a positive play, which is in playoff football, especially, absolutely impossible. And because of that, he forced so many things. He made so many little stupid mistakes, which in my opinion, I just felt like he wanted to prove a point in this playoff run, but he did not understand who he was at that time, which was, at the end of the day, was supposed to be a game manager and don't screw over your defense, because literally you give them a pick six. The storyline was which offense can either not make which offense can make the least mistakes, and you were the biggest reason. You were the biggest mistake on the football field, basically.
I understand you were missing Nico Collins. Big game changer. I forgot to mention that in our preview because I forgot he also got a concussion as well. And he, unlike Christian Gonzalez, who was able to come back for this game, Nico Collins was not. And yes, big factor. The guy's one of the best guys in the middle of the field, type receiver to get you positive points and make acrobatic and big catches down the stretch. But at the end of the day, your job is as a quarterback is to take care of the football, and you did not do that. And overall, yeah, you're right. Like after the first year, we all like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna be in the MVP conversation. Every year, you had him in. I think you had him as your winner last year. I think, if I'm not mistaken,
I had him in conversation.
Yeah, like at least in the conversation, if not your winner. And I don't blame people because everybody was making fun of the score of his draft or whatever. I'm not saying that's still. I'm not bringing that up now as a thing, but like, I don't get what the Texans are doing. All-world defense. I don't, like you said early in the year, we don't know if this defense is just making this offense look like in practice, like, oh, we're shit, and now we're doing this in practice.
That's what Dalton Schultz says. Like literally, he said himself in training camp is like what we had to go against in the training camp. I felt like it ruined our confidence because of how good this defense is.
But it should become better because you're not playing as good. In my opinion, the Texans defense is probably the best defense in the NFL.
You're playing very tough competition in practice.
So it's like, why fire Bobby Slowick after your second year, after he was getting head coaching opportunities the first year? You blame him, you take him away, get a new guy, nothing much changed. So is that on CJ Stroud? Is that on the offensive scheme in general? Is that on the GM not getting proper O-line protection?
That's another thing. So right now, okay, year 2, you're looking at, okay, you blame the O-line and you blame the OC. Now, year 3, you're looking at CJ Stroud.
And he's up for a contract extension, and if I'm Houston, I'm not giving it to him.
Yeah, right? Makes sense. Like, you got to be patient, like, with this guy, because you don't know what this guy is going to be now. But you thought you had the guy, you thought you had the next great quarterback in the league, but right now it's gone downhill. It's literally the reverse Bryce Young. If you're looking at their careers so far, like what CJ Stroud did this year is what Bryce Young was doing in his first year.
So for me, I'm ultimately looking at D'Amico and I'm looking at the GM. I believe it's Caserio.
Yeah.
Figure out your offensive scheme. Figure out the protections. Figure out your OC and get a guy. Like, I'm not saying bring back Bobby Slowick now, but like I don't know why you fired him after his second year after he had an amazing first year for you as an OC. You got to find that back because, listen, I still believe CJ Stroud's a good quarterback. I still believe that, like, is he going to get $50 million right now like Trevor Lawrence and Tua and all these guys did? He might, because it's the quarterback position, and if you believe in the guy, you probably are going to end up doing it. I would be against it, obviously, but you need to figure that situation out this offseason before committing to him, because if you believe he's the problem, then don't pay him. But if you feel like you need to get the right offensive mind to get this rolling.
I'm not even looking at scheme or mind right now. You got to get the offensive line. Yeah. No scheme, no scheme, no head coach is going to get his belief back in his own protection and get his belief back under pressure. Because right now, this is a guy, when he is under pressure, under duress, that looks absolutely rattled. The games that he plays really good against is the Indianapolis Colts, because the Colts don't know how to generate a pass rush.
Yeah.
So that's why he looks really good against them. But when you're looking at the Patriots, when you're looking at his own defense, when you're looking at the Broncos, obviously, that's not gonna be the case. So it's not even getting the right scheme and right mind. Obviously, that's not priority one for me. Priority one is getting the offensive line, because now you're gonna know what the answer is. Is it just him not trusting his protection and trusting the players up front, or is it actually ability now? Because when we looked at CJ Stroud coming out of the draft, even in his rookie year, we're like, okay, this guy's an accurate QB. He's gonna put the ball where it's supposed to be. What we have seen the last 2 years is him not putting the ball where it's supposed to be. Especially these last two playoff games. So that's the ability part. So if you're saying that in my opinion, I have the belief in the guy, so I'm putting the onus on the O-line, where it's saying that he just doesn't trust his protection, doesn't trust the guys up front. So you gotta really build that line, make it crystal clear that Is it his ability that's declining, or is it the roster construction in terms of the protection?
Yeah, like at the end of the day, we'll see what ends up happening because he has 3 playoff wins under his belt.
Yeah,
like,
but
this year's is a little bit more controversial than last year and the year before. But at the end of the day, we'll see what ends up happening with them. But let's talk about this Patriots team because, listen, the reason why we picked this team is because we trusted Drake May because he's an MVP conversation this year. Drake May was far from perfect. Again, you're playing a Houston defense. He fumbled the ball 4 times, lost it twice. That led to, I think, a field goal and a touchdown eventually down there. I think he threw a pick as well in this game. But at the end of the day, he ended up making more plays. He made the big plays. The reason why you go get Stephon Diggs, he makes that play in the end zone. Kayshon Boutte, obviously injuries aside at LSU, this guy is the big play guy that will get you a catch. And obviously the first touchdown of the game were that throw to Demario Douglas.
Yeah, in the fourth down play. Yeah,
I forget the name. Either Demario Davis or Demario Douglas. Yeah, that play, like we've seen why he has the MVP stature to him, and he ended up making more of the plays on the offensive side. And he was given great field position because of CJ Stroud's inability to keep the ball protected. So that being said, though, for this team,
well, last final thing is like you got to give credit to defense. You got to give credit to Vrabel. You got to give credit to the D line and getting pressure because there's back-to-back games where they made quarterbacks look like they never looked at a football field before. And Herbert and now CJ Stroud. And again, credit goes to Milton Williams for what he's done. Getting him back healthy was absolutely massive. And Christian Gonzalez, shout out to him because he is absolutely a lockdown.
Again, we're going to go in more detail against the Broncos in, this coming week as well. But one thing I do want to say is, guys, they need to figure out certain things because you're playing against a defense that's not going to be far too off or even is probably exact similar to the Houston Texans. And I'm looking at Will Campbell right now. I understand he's a rookie, but these last 2 games, he has not been good at that tackle position. Obviously, yes, he's going against Nick Bonito. He's going against the Chargers defense, which was really good as well. But in this game, you're going against Will Anderson. In this game, you're going against Nick Bonito. It's not going to be easy for you, so you guys need to figure that out. Because at the end of the day, yes, you're going to go against Jarrett Stidham. Defensively, you might be fine, but it's still going to be a close enough game because that Denver defense will make the game close like the Texans defense did in this game as well. Before we move on to the NFC, the divisional games, like Joven said, please hit the subscribe button. We'll be dropping our championship preview this week. We have a lot of content coming for you guys, not even just for this season, but the off season as well. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Get us to 200 subscribers. We would love to get there as soon as possible. The goal is to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. Comment down below your thoughts on these divisional matchups as well. As crazy as they were, we want to hear you in the comments down below and hit the like button on this video as well. But let's move on to the big Sunday afternoon game, the Bears-Rams. The Rams clawing it out in overtime after what we saw probably the biggest throw of the playoffs as well from Caleb Williams, 2 in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, this one will not result in a win. But your overall reaction from watching this game and Caleb Williams as a whole?
Again, incredible plays, literally jaw-dropping moments we witnessed in this game. But overall, the more experienced team came away with the victory, but again, it was not a clean game at all from both teams. In my
weather was
opinion.
A factor as well.
Obviously, weather was a factor. The cold and the snow, but overall, again, we saw a sloppy football, but we also saw some jaw-dropping moments. And overall, it ended up being a fantastic watch for, again, a neutral fan. Not necessary for the Bears and Rams, or Rams as well, just because they won. But
still stressful watching.
But yeah, very stressful game, very close game, very tight game. And it's kind of what we expected between these two teams when we were coming into this game, because it was a difficult one to protect. But overall, the team that was more experienced got the job done.
Yeah, no, like Stafford did not have the greatest game. We all know that. It was going to be hard throwing the ball. The run game did step up with Kyren Williams getting 2 touchdowns as well. But Stafford made the big plays. I was very concerned with the play calling late in that game. Like 2:07 to go. Why run the ball? Give the ball to the arguable MVP's hand, right? Some people's eyes, Stafford's the MVP. He's your best player. Get him the ball to Puka or whoever. You did that last week when he made the big play to Parkinson for the touchdown. Why do that? Why stop that? And then the first overtime, the 3rd down play was absolutely atrocious in my opinion. Like, as the Bears were doing a good job getting to the quarterback because he was sacked 4 times, which was a season high for Stafford this year and the Rams in general. But obviously, thankfully, their defense stepped up and made that pick, because otherwise it was going to look like a Bears win, because Stafford made probably the best throw of this season to Devontae Adams, who again is one of the best wide receivers ever we've seen in the NFL as well there. And then obviously ultimately led to the game-winning field goal. But that's the Rams side of things, though. At the end of the day, their defense did save Sean McVay. And if I am Chris Shula, and if you're getting head coaching opportunities, show them this game. Simple as that. That's what I'm going to say. Because just say that like, hey, my head coach almost cost us the game here. My defense made plays. Cam Curl made a huge play there. Yes, he threw 3 picks, Caleb Williams. But one of them was like, the fourth down thing. And we'll talk about the Bears and the fourth down stuff in a second. But Chris Shula, this is one of the game tapes where I'm going to be like, hey, look what the play my defense is making for me. Look at the schemes we're putting in. We got him to throw 3 picks. This is like, I'm saying the defense ended up getting the Rams the win to give them a chance at a rematch against the Seahawks to get to the Super Bowl. The Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears.
The Chicago Bears.
Bro, did you like...
No. I was going to say, I thought you were going to say something to stop.
No, but
anything
you
for the
glitched
Rams
out.
before we go to the Bears?
You fully glitched out there. I'm just going to say this much.
Yeah.
Coming into this game, the biggest thing I had was that if the Chicago Bears don't play a proper full 60 minutes, like they haven't really done most of the year, they were not going to win this game.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. The Chicago Bears, at the end of the day, Caleb Williams turned the ball over 3 times. The third interception, you got to look at it again and see, have your own takeaway of it. You could look at it. You could look at Caleb Williams. You could look at DJ Moore and the miscommunication that they had. But overall, they did not play a clean football game. Did not play an amazing football game. They had amazing moments and amazing plays, which they did. Yeah, exactly. But that's what the Chicago Bears were. In the Green Bay Packers moment, they had amazing quarters. They don't have amazing games. Right? That's the biggest downfall for the Chicago Bears, and that's the reason why they're going home. They just don't play amazing, full, complete football games. And that's not going to help you, especially when you're playing a team at the end of the day that is better than you. And again, credit to you. You made it close. You made it tough on them. But when you're the underdog, you have to play a complete game to win. The Panthers didn't do that when they had a terrible first quarter. You didn't do that when you had those bad turnovers and terrible moments and not converting 4th downs and all those things. When you're playing a favorite, you got to play a complete game. That's how you win football. That's how you win the football game, especially playoff time. And that's not what that wasn't the case for the Chicago Bears, and that's the biggest downfall for them. But one thing you got to say for the Chicago Bears is, holy shit, there is finally hopes to be a Bears fan, because what we have witnessed this year and in the last two games, and what Caleb Williams has done in the biggest moment of the game has been absolutely incredible.
Game on the line.
Fourth down. This guy puts together 2 of the greatest plays, like literally the top 2 plays of the playoffs so far. So you didn't think you could top it against the Packers? He somehow did a fadeaway 50-yard pass on his back foot, which is only going to count as a 14-yard TD pass. Yeah. And found Cole Kmet in the end zone. Absolute incredible play for sure. This guy is a playmaker, and he was on fire. He was at the end in the 4th quarter in that drive, and in overtime, he was unstoppable up until a minor miscommunication led to a very big, crucial interception. And then obviously Sean McVay got his head out of his ass and started being that aggressive, creative play caller he was, instead of just...
And let Stafford throw the ball.
Get the ball to Nakua and his best playmakers. Yeah, no,
like the Bears fans, listen, you got Ben Johnson led you to a division win. Ben Johnson led you to a playoff win. Ben Johnson almost led to another playoff win. Caleb Williams, yes, you could live by him, die by him. We're going to see those Carson Wentzian moments, but I'm saying he's more of a Patrick Mahomes, not saying at the Patrick Mahomes level, but the magic plays that we've seen, because holy shit, I thought that game was over at that point. Like, obviously, if the Rams were like, why couldn't we have Aaron Donald in this moment? Because the game would have been over because it's Aaron freaking Donald. But in this case, obviously, you don't have Aaron Donald. He made the play, found Cole Kmet somehow. I thought he overthrew it. I don't know what happened, but he got it done. Yeah, and it's unfortunate that he threw that pick in overtime. But again, you found your quarterback. You found your head coach. You have a decent O-line. You have some weapons. You have a good tight end. And Colson Loveland, yes, obviously we're going to be biased and lean towards Tyler Warren. But at the end of the day, he was deserved to be drafted the 10th spot. Like if it wasn't the 10th spot, he was going to fall to the Colts. If it was Tyler Warren at the 10th spot, we were going to probably pick him up as a Colts, from Colts fans' perspective, at whatever pick we had, 15 or whatever 14. It was. 14. But at the end of the day, there is hope. This division's going to be a gauntlet next year. like I said last week, you're gonna have the Lions coming back. You're gonna have the Vikings hopefully figure out the quarterback situation, but for sure the Green Bay Packers and Micah Parsons coming back healthy there. But you at least are now in the conversation with that team that you guys are not the laughing stock. You're not the Arizona Cardinals. You're not like the New York Jets and all these teams like from a couple of years ago that had three-headed monster teams. Like you're not the Raiders, for example, from this year as well. So you have a lot of hope. You got the experience from this playoff run, Ben Johnson. But the one question that I do gotta ask you is the aggressiveness we've seen. Fourth downs, because if they have taken the field goals, for example, they would win this game. Right? And then some people say, like, if you're going for the fourth down here, and I do disagree with them, why wouldn't you go for 2 to win the game? Even though for me, it's like, go to overtime, because like you have to give a chance to win a game, because you're gonna get a possession in overtime regardless, right? So I do disagree with that take, like, why you should have went for 2. But in general, the fourth down, analytical stuff, like, listen, I understand they were aggressive all year and they worked, but these last 2 games, you could arguably say, yes, they ended up winning last week. Yes, he had the 2 biggest throws on fourth down and the biggest plays of the playoffs. But should he have gone for like get the 3 points when he needed to get the 3 points earlier in the game?
I don't think the conversation. I'm going to shift the conversation a little bit. I'm not on should he take the field goal, should he go for the fourth down. But there's one concern I had because all the fourth downs he went to were like fourth and shorts, right? 4th and 1, 4th and 2.
4th and 3 at most.
Or 4th and 3 at most, right? It just the plays were so ugly. Like it was like zero chance of converting.
He was not on the run. Like CJ Stroud was standing. Oh, sorry, not CJ Stroud. Caleb Williams was standing in the pocket.
It just like it either led to interception or turnovers, or did like it would just absolutely blown up.
Stuffed on one of the run
plays. I don't know. I don't know if it's a play calling issue or just a misassignment issue, whatever it was. It just that when you have been that aggressive that all year and you're showing that in those fourth down, it just makes it look so much more worse than it actually should have been, really, or what you have done so far. Again, look, this guy's from Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. Again, you're gonna be picking it like obviously 2 years ago. You're gonna say that like they should have went for the field goal. Detroit Lions against the San Francisco 49ers. Again, it's a valid case, valid point for sure. Again, in this game and even last game, like they should have gotten points whenever you could get the points. But the biggest issue I had was that, like, at the end of the day, there's like 1-2 yard conversions and you're not even close.
You're known as this creative guy and you couldn't get creative.
That for me is a bigger concern than his aggressive mindset.
So maybe this is where the experience will kick in a little bit. Yes, Dan Campbell was experienced enough that he was still going for fourth down. I get it. We'll see what ends up happening with them, though. Yeah, it's a good conversation to have because at the end of the day, if he kick those field goals, get the guaranteed points, put the Rams on the back foot a little bit because at the end of the day, field goal or not, they need to get points to win, right? If it's a tie game, then it's like, okay, they still could be a little bit conservative to a certain extent and not have to like go for it every time. Yes, you want to win the game, obviously, but it's an interesting conversation to have. It's not just them, right? Many teams, like you said, Dan Campbell and Detroit in general, it's going to be one of those situations where it's going to be interesting to see. But we'll see. We'll talk about Bears more of the offseason and what they end up doing. But the experience, Bears fans, you should be happy. You have the quarterback finally. Hopefully, it's a positive step in the right direction. It's not a regression next year. But let's close it out with probably the dud of the weekend, was probably honestly expected. The San Francisco 49ers, magic has run out officially. You lose George Kittle. You could only do so much. Brock... and like obviously, like I said, you cannot be off the back foot in this game. And immediately, the first play of the game was a Rashid Shaheed turnaround. Sorry,
kick
return. Obviously off the bat, and you're already behind the 8 foot. Again, you can only do so much with a lot of what you could do. You're playing again one of the top 3 defenses in my opinion in the NFL, and yeah, like just magic just run out. I did not expect it to be as big of a blowout as it was, but
it's as simple as this. The injuries caught up to him finally.
Yeah.
And you're facing the Legion of Boom 2.0.
Yeah.
It's impossible to get. It just felt like they made us believe all year that they can do something. And they obviously shown that, and a lot of credit goes for that.
Yeah.
But at some point, at the end of the day, it was an impossible task.
Yeah.
Like not just this game, but throughout the year. It was an impossible task. And they found a way to get it done. But this time, they played a team that was disciplined. They played a team that has a good head coach and knows what he's doing and has control over his sideline as well and his locker room. And Mike McDonald compared to Nick Sirianni. And then, like, when you're looking at it, like, you can't even say, Brock Purdy didn't do much, but Brock Purdy wasn't turning the football over before.
Yeah.
Obviously, that happened more in the second half. Like, it just... The receivers fumbling overall.
McCaffrey got banged up.
McCaffrey getting banged up. It just... at the end of the day, you are facing a rested, feisty, fierce, absolutely just got dominated because of all those attributes.
Seattle
And like
team
to the point that the Sam Darnold injury and oblique thing just didn't matter. Obviously, again, he did his thing. They did their thing. JSN didn't have to do much as well because of all the opportunities that the Seahawks defense provided them. So again,
run game went up for the Seahawks as well, unfortunately.
Yeah, so not like literally just nothing much to say in terms of what we kind of expected to happen for the 49ers happened in this game in terms of, but obviously with the magic they have created and the incredible coaching by Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy's incredible play down the stretch was obviously a glimmer of hope. But at the end of the day, it was just an impossible task against a rested team, and that is literally a Super Bowl defense.
Nothing much to say. Get rested. Hopefully the players get healthy. Maybe address certain things they need to address. But on the Seahawks side of things, pressure's on a little bit. Yes, you're going to be facing a tough Rams team. Third time again during this season. You literally got 2 divisional matchups as your first round of the first 2 games of the playoffs. Again, we'll talk about more about that. But yeah, I do want to talk about the oblique injury a little bit. Yes, it obviously don't matter. I always thought he was going to play, but who knows how much of a concern that's going to be as the week goes on. But one thing that is a big bright spot from this game is that we saw Kenneth Walker go off. The run game was there, and if the run game is there, this team is going to be hard to stop. There's a reason why Clint Kubiak is getting head coaching interviews in the NFL during the bye week for them in the playoffs. But yeah, like if that run game gets going, and the way the Rams are looking as of late, yes, the Rams will not have to face that bad of weather in Seattle. Yes, you're going to have a loud fan base going against, but this Seattle team, it's a good chance for you to go ahead. And then Sam Darnold, once again, hopefully is healthy enough to get the boogeyman off his shoulder officially in the playoff time.
Well, he's got a playoff win now. So
yeah, so that's the big thing as well. So
he got a little bit of a monkey off his back.
But now it's the Rams monkey that
and the final point I'm just going to make here is it is very doable. It is very winnable because in these playoffs, Stafford is not comfortable. Yeah, he wasn't comfortable against Panthers. He definitely wasn't comfortable against the Bears. And you have a defense that will make him uncomfortable.
Exactly.
So again, it's going to be a big matchup between McVay and McDonald because that's the matchup. Yeah. That's the 2 heavyweights that's the 2 literal quality coins of each team, the Seattle defense and the Rams offense. So we'll see who wins there, and we'll be predicting those games later on this week as well.
So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, the post notification bell, comment down below. What are your thoughts? This is the end of the video. We appreciate you guys for watching. We will see you guys on the next one.
Peace.